Hello, and welcome to our Event Management with the Soapbox Engage Events app webinar. Over the next few minutes, we're going to be sharing some of the essential features and functionalities of the Soapbox Events app. Now, with the Soapbox Events app, you're going to be able to easily create and manage online events listings, allowing folks to register and buy tickets for your events. You'll be able to display your events as a single page or in a calendar or as a list of upcoming or past events. Now today, we're going to be walking through some of the details of what that looks like, as well as how you can create an event listing through the Events app. Now, by way of an introduction, my name is Brad Grahowski. I am the Director of Support Services at PicNut, and we're the company that is behind the Soapbox Engage suite of online apps. So welcome, and it's nice to meet you. Now, Soapbox Engage is, to sum it up in a nutshell, a platform that allows you to raise more money while you're changing the world. How about that? And Soapbox does this through a number of different apps on the Soapbox platform. Now, these apps include the Soapbox Donations app, which allows you to fundraise online and includes a peer-to-peer fundraising add-on as well. And we've got our Events app, which we're talking about today, so that you can accept event registrations for the activities that you're putting on. We have the Classes app, which is really a more robust version of the Events app if you have a full course catalog that you're looking to get registrations for. We have our Forms app, which allows you to easily collect data from online users and push that data to Salesforce. And we also have our Directories tool, which does the exact opposite of the Forms app, allowing you to create queries easily without any code that pulls data from Salesforce and displays it on the front end of your site. We've got an e-commerce app called Shop that allows you to sell widgets and wares, to subscriptions, memberships online, that sort of thing. We've also got our Petitions app that will allow you to collect signatures online in support of your cause or advocacy. And the Actions app, which is sort of a sister to the Petitions app, that's our other advocacy app that allows you to allow your site visitors to send messages directly to decision makers. Now, we've also got our website portals feature, and that allows you to grant users login access so that can give them a personalized experience on your Soapbox Engage instance and opens up some superpowers of all of these other apps in interacting with those logged in users. We've got our Soapbox Mailer Salesforce native app that allows you to send mass emails from right directly within Salesforce. And then finally, we do offer a full content management system as part of Soapbox. So if you ever wanted to have your full website hosted on Soapbox, linked with all of the apps and tools that we're talking about here, you could elect to have that as well. All right, so let's dig into what we're really here for, the task at hand, and let's take a look at the Events app. All right, we're going to start out by taking a look at an actual event on the front end here. I say actual, but I mean a sample event. But you're going to see here the title of the event. You're going to see who it's hosted by, when the event takes place, where it takes place, with location information, as well as a handy Google map and information about a link to the website and to get directions to the event location. We've got some tickets set up here. You don't have to sell tickets, but we have chosen to for this event. You can see we've got a free ticket, we've got a not free ticket. We're charging money for this one, $1,000. That's a deal if ever there was one. You can see when the ticket sale ends and how many are remaining. These pieces can be hidden if you don't want to show those for whatever reason. You see the button to click to attend the event. That's going to take them to the actual registration form. And then you can see the event detail information here. And you can add photos or embed YouTube videos or whatever you want to do to spice up your event description to make it seem super exciting so that everybody wants to attend. Once they click attend to this event, they're going to be taken to the registration page. And at the top, you're going to be able to ask them for registration information. There's a handful of standard fields that you can add here. You can also have the option of adding custom fields. And then you see the tickets here. They can choose how many tickets they want. And for each ticket or each attendee, you can have a sub form that asks for information for that for each individual attendee. And here again, you can ask for, or you can add custom fields. So you can ask for customized specific information for your event. You can ask for additional donations on top of the registration. Maybe it's a free event and you're asking for, donations for attendance, or maybe it's a fundraiser or a gala and you're asking people to donate on top of their registration fee. So that's available. You can also create promo codes that you can that they can use to get a percentage off or a flat dollar amount off of their registration amount. So say we're getting the not free ticket and it's $2,000 and it's $1,000. 50% off on that, we can get that ticket. We can sell it for $500. And then they're going to click attend this event. If it's a paid ticket, you'll see the payment form open up, or they can choose which credit card they want to use and fill out the form, of course, with their payment information. All right, so that's what things look like on the front end, but we want to see more than that. We want to learn how to create these and how to manage them. So to do that, we're going to log into the administrator or the cPanel of the Soapbox administrator. Now, the first thing you'll notice when we log in here, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Not all of this has to do with events. You'll see there are quick boxes for donations, the events that we're talking about today, actions, petitions. So all of our different apps have a quick box, but we're going to mostly be focused on the events pages for today. Before we dig into that, there are two things I want to show you that are probably going to come in handy for you if you're using events, and that is the Salesforce.com settings, which is where you'll go to set up your Salesforce integration. You're going to enter your account credentials for Salesforce user here and then save it, and that's going to allow Soapbox to log into Salesforce and make that connection to send data and pull data back from Salesforce. You'll probably also want to connect your events account or your Soapbox account to a payment processor so you can accept payment for tickets. And this is where you're going to select from the good handful of payment processors that Soapbox supports. You're going to select the one that you have your account with and then enter the credentials for that and then save that information here. And that will make the connection between Soapbox and your payment processor. Awesome. All right, so let's dig into the events here. We see the events quick box, and right off the bat, sort of working our way around from top to bottom, left to right, we see this little gear button. This takes us into the global configuration. All of the global configurations, and you'll see as we go through here that things are set to use global configuration. So you can set global configurations here that can then be used by default by all of your events as you set them up. That way you can set it once and then all of your events pick up that setting. You can override that in any given event. And we're not going to go through all of these tabs because most of these fields we're going to see as we're looking at individual events. But just so you understand that you have a lot of global configurations that you can set once and then have it apply to all of your events as you create them. Let's go back to the cPanel there that we were looking at, to our quick box. Also from the quick box, you can click View All. View all what? View all of your event pages. So that's going to take you to the list view of events, and we're going to see that in a few minutes anyway. You can click this button to add a new event, so you don't even have to go into the Events app to add a new event. You just click Add New, and we're going to be adding a new event in a few minutes, but just so you know, you can do that from here. Next, you have the a list of the next 5 upcoming events, and this is only going to show up to 5. To see all of your events, you want to go into the list view, but this is just a quick view of the next 5 upcoming events so you can quickly manage them here. From here you can customize the URL. You're basically just adding the little slug that goes at the end of the URL here, and you see this is March webinar. That's exactly what we have here. You can click View, which is going to take you to the front-end view, which we've already seen, or Edit, which is going to take you into the edit view of the event. That's where you're going to go in to change things if you need to. There are 3 very important buttons here. The events calendar is going to take you to the event, the calendar view of your events, so you can scroll through the months to see your upcoming or past events. And you can copy this URL if you want to link to that from your main website, or any reason you could want to use the URL to get people to that calendar event. You also have a very similar but upcoming events view, but it's going to give you a list view of your upcoming events. And you have your past events button, which is going to show you all of the events that have happened in the past. And again, the URL for each of those, you could grab that if you want to link to those from your primary website. Cool, so that's the basics of our quick box here. So let's go into the Events app itself. And we're going to do that by clicking the View All tab. And that's going to take us to the list view. So this is a list of all of our events. Well, it's a list of our first 20 events, but we only have 18, so we're seeing all of them. If you want to see more than 20, you can adjust how many are displayed here in this little drop down. Notice here that you'll see the name of the event, you'll see the venue and the date and time of the event, whether it's published or not, and how many tickets have been sold for that event. The access level of the event listing, not the event itself. Your event may be public or not, but whether the event listing on in your Soapbox account is viewable to the public. Across the top, you can see you can also publish or unpublish or copy your events. Oh, I don't know what I hit there. You can publish or unpublish or copy your events. You can create new events from here. You can edit an existing event. So you're just going to select the event you want to affect with the button or the events, and then click Publish, Unpublish, or Copy. You can only edit one event at a time. You can also delete events. There's a filter for filtering your events. Because we only have 18, this isn't super helpful for us, but if you're an organization that is hosting hundreds of events throughout the year, it can come in real handy to be able to filter it by upcoming or past events, or by venue, however you want to filter that to sort of zero in on the smaller tranche of events that you want to take a look at. All right. Now, before we create an event, we have to create two things. We have to create a venue and a host. So we're going to go into the Venues tab here, and you'll see we have several venues already created, but we're going to create a new one. Let's create a venue called, I already have the airport. How about the beach? The beach. All right, that's exciting. And yes, we want it published, and then you can put the address and all of the address information you want to add here, and that's all exciting. So you're going to apply that, and there you go. You've just created your first venue. Now for a host, let's see. We want to create a new host. We already have me and Crocodile Dundee and Magnum PI. Those have been entered previously. Let's add a new one. How about Luke Skywalker? How about Luke Skywalker is going to be one of our event hosts? Excellent. And you can add his phone number and his email address, etc. So we're going to save that, and Luke Skywalker is our new event host that we've created. So great. We've created a venue, we've created a host. Now we're ready to go ahead and create an event. So we're going to go into the events listing, the events list view rather, and we're going to click New. And it's going to give us our form to start filling out. Now, you'll see we have a bunch of tabs, and I generally recommend working on the tabs from left to right, and then each tab from top to bottom. So the first thing I want to do is, we'll call this the Star Wars party, since Luke is hosting it. How about that? I think that makes sense. So the first thing I want to do is give it a title and click Apply, and that's going to create the instance of the event. Now I can go ahead and begin to edit it. So it's the Star Wars party. So let's customize our URL, and we'll call it Star Wars, and the title, we'll give it as Star Wars. How's that? Okay, we're going to save that. We do want it published, and we want to give it a start date. Let's say it's on the 31st, And an end date will also be on the 31st, an hour after the start date. It's an hour long. It's a short. We're not even going to watch a whole movie. We're just going to get together to talk about Star Wars. We'll leave it set to America, New York for the time zone and the venue. I'm going to, even though we just created one, I'm going to use Soapbox Engage HQ because I know that one has a real address in it, and that's going to give us the Google map. Our host is, of course, Luke Skywalker. Do we want to display the donation option? Sure, why not? If people want to donate money to us to come to the Luke Skywalker thing, that's fine. To the Star Wars party, that's great. Now, note you can customize the title and add a description. If you don't customize this, it will just it will just use a default title, and I'm going to leave it set to that, but just so you know, you can customize that. In addition, you can customize some of the other headings and labels. Now, you'll see this customize headings and labels from time to time at the bottom of these panels, and that's going to allow you to customize the headings and labels of the things that are in the panel immediately above it. I'm not going to look at those each time, but just so you're aware of what that's for. All right, so we've got the details of our event. I'm going to click apply here. And we can go ahead and take a look at that because it should already be starting to come together. And you see we've got our Star Wars party hosted by Luke Skywalker. We've got the when it's happening, we've got where, we've got the Google Maps showing up, so everything's looking super good. But you'll notice we don't have any tickets yet, so now we need to set up some tickets. So we're going to create a new ticket. We're going to add a ticket, and the ticket we'll say is a free ticket. And it's going to be free, and quantity will say 10 people can come for free. And we're going to begin sales. We'll set that in the past, and the expiration date of ticket sales will be on the date of the event. Fair market value allows you to have a different fair market value than what you're actually selling it for. You can work out with your accountant how that's going to work, but you have the option to do that. I think that allows you to offer some of the ticket price as a donation, I believe. All right, so we've got our first ticket. So let's make another ticket. And this one is popcorn ticket. So people who buy this ticket get to eat popcorn, but it's not free. It is $10 to eat popcorn. And we'll say there are 20 of these available, and people can buy as many of these tickets as they want. So we don't have a minimum or a maximum. And again, we need to set the date in the past, okay? All right, so we have a free ticket and we have a popcorn ticket. Now, if you add these up, if we have 10 tickets and 20 tickets, that's a total of 30 tickets, but I can only fit 20 people in my house. So I'm going to set the maximum capacity to 20, and whatever combination of these two tickets adds up to 20. Once that happens, then Soapbox will stop selling tickets. So you can have more tickets available than slots, but then once you reach that maximum capacity, tickets will no longer be available. Now, what happens if you're selling tickets on Soapbox, but you're also selling them by hand? This is a party. It's a Star Wars party. We're having it. I'm telling people about it. I'm selling tickets. I'm handing out tickets to my friends, to my coworkers. Let's say I give out 15 of them, and Soapbox has sold 5, but I'm already at capacity. I can say force event at capacity to say, hey, Soapbox, I know you haven't sold all the tickets, but this event is closed. We've sold all our tickets. So that's what that's about. We can now create a promo code, and we'll call this cheap popcorn. So for a few of our friends, we want them to have popcorn, but we don't want to have to pay the full amount. So we'll give them, we'll set this on the popcorn ticket, and we want it published, and the discount will be 50. You can do dollars or percent. We'll do 50% off. So they'll get their popcorn for half off, but we only want 5 people to be able to. So we only want 5 promo codes. So we save that, and now we have our cheap popcorn promo code set up. Next is our description. We can just add a little lorem ipsum phony Latin here, and you can make bold or italic. You can insert links. You can upload or upload and insert images. So you can do lots of things to kind of spruce up the description of your event. Now, payment options, we're going to leave these set to global configuration. Generally, for the payment options, you'll set them in global configuration because you want those to apply to all of your events. But if there's one particular event that you want to change something for, of course, you can do that here by explicitly setting that in the payment options. Under the parameters view, you can turn off a couple different things. You can turn off the introduction. You can turn off the Google map. You can actually enable access filter is primarily for when you also have our portals add-on and you're allowing people to log in. So we're not really going to focus on that today. Metadata information allows you to add some search engine optimization information, and then terms leverages Soapbox's taxonomy component where you can create terms and then you can tag your events by different terms for different ways of filtering and displaying them on the front end. All right, so that's our edit tab. Let's give that an apply. Now you'll see this warning keeps coming up because I have Salesforce integration turned on, but I haven't done the integration that needs to happen. So we're going to keep seeing and ignoring that warning for a few minutes. Next is reservation information. This is going to be the information I want to collect when in that top form when they fill out the reservation. I have to ask for first name, last name, and email address. I can turn the honeypot off or on. What the heck is a honeypot? It's just a little bit of anti-spam strategy that we have. So turning that to on will help. Honestly, spam submissions of event forms is super duper rare, but if you want to add a little extra protection, or if you do see it has ever happened to you and you want to stop it, that would be where you could do that. Whether or not you want to allow reservations, you don't have to allow reservations. You can just display the event for viewing, and then restricting content field edit. Again, that's primarily comes into play when you've got portals engaged and people are logging in and pulling contact information. You have to ask for first name, last name, and email address, but beyond that, there's a handful of standard fields you can add, and you can also add custom Salesforce fields by clicking the Add Salesforce element, choosing the field you want here, and then it will add that to the registration form as a custom field. For attendee information, again, you don't have to ask for attendee information, so you could turn this off. We have it turned on in the global configuration, so we're going to be asking for attendee information. Expand the information form. You'll notice that when I selected my number of, we can go ahead and do it because this should be working now. Should have our tickets. You'll notice that when I choose the number of attendees or number of tickets I want to buy, that's the number of attendee fields show up. So that's set to show up when I select a number. You could also set it so that they have to click a button to open the attendee field, and you can display or not display that button. But we're going to keep it as it is with the form automatically appearing when they select the number of tickets. There's also a handful of standard fields you can request for information here. And again, you can add a custom Salesforce field. So what's the difference with the custom Salesforce fields? Well, for here, you would ask for custom information that's relevant to the entire purchase. So have you been to our events before? Or where did you hear about this event? That sort of thing. Whereas the attendee custom information will be specific to that attendee. So t-shirt size or food choice or favorite song you want the DJ to play. So there's whatever sort of information that might be pertinent specifically to each attendee is what you're going to ask for there. Awesome. So we've got our attendee information set up. We're going to walk past the reservations tab for just a minute. We'll come back to this, I promise. But let's apply that in the settings that we've made there. And we're going to go to the messages tab. And this is going to determine what happens after they have registered. So you can opt to send them a confirmation email. And if you do that, you're going to add a from name. That's the name of the you want it to come from. If I want this to come from me, I'll say put my name in there, and the from email address, I would put my email address. I can send a carbon copy of it to myself by putting my email address in the field, or a blind carbon copy. I could be sending to myself, I could send it to my colleagues, I could send it to my friend who's helping me organize the event. What this does is so that when somebody registers, they get the confirmation email, and you also get a copy of it, so you can keep track of who's registering. You'll enter the email subject. Thanks. Thank you for registering. Whoops. No, not that. Thank you for registering. And then you can add in your email text here. We'll give it some lorem text again. And again, you could add images, you could add links to this. So basically you're building the body of your email address here, of your email that's going out. After they register, the email goes out. Where do they go after that? Where do they land? What's the landing page? Where are they redirected after registering? You can send them to a custom link. Maybe you've got a page on your own website you'd like to send them to, or you can send them to a default thank you confirmation page. And again, you can put your confirmation text in here. Now, with both this and the email, you have a list of merge fields you can use. So for instance, and if you click over email text or page content, you'll see the list of merge fields that you can choose from. So you could say, hello, name, and then you can include the name of the event and what tickets they purchased, the ticket list and the amount that they paid and all of that there. Okay. And finally, you can customize the messages. So if the sale of a ticket has ended or reached capacity, you can set custom messages here to explain to your folks what's happened with that. Okay, and the last step then in setting up this event is to set up the Salesforce integration. I know that my global configuration is already set to yes, but if you aren't sure, or if you know it's set to no and you wanted to, you could set it to yes explicitly here. Display Salesforce errors. So if there is an error when Soapbox sends the data over to Salesforce, Salesforce sends back an error message. And Salesforce error messages are kind of scary. They don't make a whole lot of sense. They're certainly not going to make sense to the person registering for your event. So in general, you want to hide those error messages. It's super handy when you're first setting up your event and troubleshooting and make sure everything is working properly to have that displayed. But in general, you'd want to turn those error messages off. We have a log that captures those error messages, so if we have to do some troubleshooting, we can look in the logs and see what error was coming back there. There's no need for your users to get confused by that. Then we're going to select our campaign. So this event is going to be associated with a campaign. It's a good practice to have one campaign per event. So as you're creating events, you're going to create a campaign for each event. You don't have to do it that way, but you can. In this case, we're going to choose, we want one that is of, it doesn't have to be a Soapbox registration record type, but it's preferable that it is, but it doesn't have to be. So we're going to select a Soapbox registration campaign there that's already been set up. And there we go. We're going to apply that. And we're done. I mean, we've created our event. So now we see our event on the front end. Let's go ahead and load it one more time, fresh and clean. So we see everything here. We see our event details here. We're going to click the attend this event. And folks are going to fill in the contact information at the top. They're going to purchase their tickets. If we have someone choosing the popcorn ticket and they have the promo code, I already forgot what it is. So let's go under the edit. If you ever do forget, whoops, you can go, no, not the after work party. We want the Star Wars party. There we go. And we're going to look under the edit tab And we're going to look under the promo codes, and we see the oh, cheap popcorn. How could I forget? How could I have forgotten that? So they'd enter the cheap popcorn promo code, and they're going to get that for 50% off. And then they're going to fill in their payment information. To complete the payment, click attend this event, get their email, be taken to your redirect page that you have set up, and they're good to go. So now you've got your event set up, but now you want to know who's registering for your event, right? Who's signing up for it? There's two places to look for that. Within an event, you can click the reservations tab, and it's going to show you who's registered for the event. Now, no one's registered for this one yet, obviously, because it's a brand new event that we just set up. But as people do register, you'll start to see their registrations show up here. You can also export the contact information or the actual individual attendees. You can export it and it'll come out and it'll download as a CSV file. The other place you can view the registrations is to go to the Orders tab of the Global Events menu here. And this is going to show you a list of all of the registration from all of your events. So here you can filter this by first name, last name, email address, but you can see the date, the event that they've registered for, how many tickets. If you want to see the information of each individual ticket, you can just click that link there and it's going to give you a little pop-up. You'll see the transaction ID if it was a paid event, and you'll see the Salesforce lead record ID. And this is going to be the lead. So when Soapbox sends the data to Salesforce, a lead is created, and that lead is then converted to give you all of the records you need there. But when it first creates the lead, it's going to send back the lead record ID. So if you see a lead record ID, you know that the data made it to Salesforce and a lead was created. If you don't, then you know that the data was not sent to Salesforce and a lead was not created. So that can actually come in handy for troubleshooting and to keep an eye on things to make sure all of your registration data is flowing over to Salesforce. What does the View by Event button do? Glad you asked. If you click that, it will show you a simplified view of the registration manager. Sorry. Cool. So, okay, so we've gone through the events list. We've created an event. We've seen the Orders tab. We've created venues. We've created hosts, and we've seen the configuration field. So we're basically done with what we need to do here. Let's go back to the control panel to kind of close things out. Thank you so very much for joining me for our webinar about Soapbox events. On behalf of myself and PigNet and Soapbox Engage, I thank you very much for joining us. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to open a ticket with us at support.pignet.net, and we'll be happy to help you from there. Thank you very, very much, and happy event creating. Bye-bye now.